Today we are going to learn about the later Vedic civilization. Okay. The later Vedic civilization and the early Vedic civilizations comes under Vedic civilization. When we learn the early Vedic civilization, we have learned that the Vedic culture is divided into two based on its origination or the beginning of or composition of the Vedas. During the early Vedic period, there were Rig Veda that was composed before the period of 1000 BC. So the early Vedic period, it begins from 2500 BC till the 1000 BC. And the later Vedic period that comes under 1000 BCE to 500 BCE. Okay, so the period is from 1000 BCE to 500 BCE. And how this later Vedic civilization developed, originated. In the previous class we have seen that the Aryans came from the Central Asia and they settled in Brahmavarda, then came to Aryavada in the Gangetic plain region and settled there. There they are called as Aryavada. Okay, Aryavada means the land that belongs to Aryans. So the region, when they came to the Gangetic plains, there they gained control over that place. They have the full power on that place. That's why it is called Aryavada. So from that time onwards, the Aryans started to develop in India and the new culture started to begin or sprang up in India. So when we see the later Vedas, there are different later Vedas are there except Rig Veda. The Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva Veda and also the Upanishads and the epics. They have composed, these Vedas were composed during the later Vedic period, that is after 1000 BCE and between 500 BCE. So this period of composition of these later Vedas that comes under the later Vedic civilization. And when we see this later Vedic civilization, how we get the sources, what are the different sources of later Vedic civilization, how the history of later Vedic civilization reconstructed. The later Vedic civilization was reconstructed with the help of the four Vedas, okay, and also the Upanishads, the epics called Ramayana and Mahabharata, and also the archaeological evidences. There are two important archaeological evidences, that is, one is from Hastinapur and another one is from Upper Gangetic plain. Okay? The archaeological excavations that gives us clear glimpse of the civilization of later Vedic people. Now we will talk about the political organization, how the political system was prevailed during the later Vedic period. And we have seen in the later Vedic political condition, there were different tribes was there, each tribe had a chief tribe. Now what happened during the later Vedic period, the tribal way of living was developed and different kingdoms formed. In each kingdom was consisted of different tribes. So that there were four important kingdoms during the period of later Vedic civilization, that is Kuru, that comes under the Delhi region, Kosala, that comes under Awadh region, and Magadha, okay, that comes under Jharkhand and Bihar region, and Kasi, that comes under Kasi, okay. So these were four important kingdoms during the period of later Vedic civilization. When we talk about the role of the king, okay, the powerful and the strong person from the tribe can become the king. That's what we have seen in the previous class. Okay, so the king had the power and the rule of the king was hereditary. It was not elected by people. Okay, it comes hereditary. The rule comes hereditary. And in the early Vedic period, we have seen to help the king, there were two important set of council was there. One is Sabha and Samiti. When the later Vedic period, during the later Vedic period, the council lost its power. Okay, the Sabha and Samiti, these were forgotten. But the king appointed different officials to take over different functions in the different departments. Okay, so various ministries were overtaken by the officials who were appointed by the king. And when we see the life of Brogida, the life of Brogida was very important during the later Vedic period. There were two important yajanas were practiced. Okay, there were two important sacrifices were given. Okay, that is one is Rajasuya Yajna and other one is Ashwamedha Yajna. Now, what is Rajasuya Yajna? Rajasuya Yajna was practiced by a Purohita to conquer supreme power. The king, okay, should conquer supreme power. That's the reason that Rajasuya Yajna was conducted. It was mainly conducted during the period of coronation. Okay, when the king crowned, that time the Rajasuya Yajna was celebrated. And the next one is Ashwamedha Yajna. It was celebrated, it was done, the sacrifice was given during the period of conquering. Okay, when the king going to conquer different regions, this was being done. It shows, it is given to show the authority of the king over the territories. Okay, mainly it was a horse sacrifice. The decorated horse will be left towards the territory. Okay, wherever the territory is there, and where the horse is stopped by a particular ruler, then the ruler of the nation and the enemy nations will be fight. In that, who will conquer will take out the enemy's land even. When we see the social life of the people, okay, the social life is very, very important during the later Vedic period. In comparing with the early Vedic period, the social life was very rigid and serious during the later Vedic period. And the social life of the people was classified based on the four important varnas. And in early Vedic period, the varna system was not given very important, it was not rigid, but in later Vedic period, it was followed rigidly. The varna system was, it became hereditary, not belongs to the job which they have done. Okay, but in later early Vedic period, the varna system followed based on the job which they do. Here it is not, it is based on hereditary. There was no intermarriage or intercaste change was allowed during the period of later Vedic period. And when we take family life, there were people, they adopted the joint family system. They had a close knit in their family system. And the women, they have took part in the religious activities of the society. But women's rights were abolished. They were not given much freedom. They were not given any rights to take part in the assemblies. They were not given the right to get education during the period of later Vedic period. When we see the condition of women was the child marriage and sati was prevailed during the period of later Vedic civilization. When we talk about four ashramas, the four ashramas mainly talks about the four stages of life of a man. The life of a man was classified under four divisions, that is brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasya. Okay. Now, what is the period of brahmacharya? The period of brahmacharya begins from the birth till the age of 25. So, during this period of brahmacharya, a man is supposed to learn the things. Whatever they wanted to learn, they have to learn within the period of 25 years. And grihastha, it talks about entering into the family life. And after leave his family life and he has to take the life, separated life, that is called vanaprastha. And sannyasa, it is ascetic life. One who devotes himself completely towards to God, surrendering fully for God is called sannyasa. Okay, so this is the condition of social life in the later Vedic period. Then we see the Gurukula system. What is Gurukula system? It is a system of education that prevailed during the Vedic civilization. In Gurukula system, the students will go to Guru's house and he will stay there till the age of 25, and the Guru will teach everything, including fighting war and sword fighting. Okay, not only teaching of Vedas, not only teaching of archery and other things, he also taught every skill in his life. So the Guru's life is very important. After the completion of his education under a Guru, he should pay Guru Dakshana to Guru. Okay, who is given right to get education? Only male member in the Brahmin family, they have given right to get education. Okay, in some of the Brahmin families, some females also they were given education. But when we see in early Vedic period, women were given preference for education. There were two important women scholars during the period of early Vedic period, that is Maitreyi and Gargi. So these two women scholars we can find in the early Vedic period. And when we come to religion, the early Vedic period, the people gave importance for nature worship, and they also worship different forces of nature. They worship Lord Agni, okay, Indra, Vayu, Agni, the god of plant, okay, god of dawn, like that. Different gods and goddesses were worshipped. But in the later Vedic period, they have forgotten all the gods which were worshipped by the early Vedic period. They gave importance for three important gods, that is Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. Okay, they were called as Trimurtis. Okay, Brahma is the god of creator, Shiva is the god of destroyer, and Vishnu is the god of protector. Okay, so these were the important religious life of people. And the religious literatures were written in Sanskrit languages. In the religious society, Brahmins hold a prominent role in the society because education was given by the Brahmanas in the society to the Brahmanas in the society, not for other people in the society. Other people, they were not given any right to get education. So during this period, the Kshatriyas and Brahmanas in the top position in the Varna system, they held the high rank in the society. When we talk about epics, there were two important epics, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata. The epic Ramayana talks about the life history of Rama. Okay, it was written by Valmiki. Okay, and Mahabharata, it talks about the conflict between Pandavas and Kauravas, and they have met in the battle of Kurukshetra. Okay, so it talks about the Kurukshetra war, and it was composed by Vaishishta saint. Okay, and Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita when we see it, Lord Krishna gives advice to Arjuna about the Kurukshetra war. So that's why Bhagavad Gita is the prominent and the holy book of Hindus. Hinduism, when we see, when we talk about Hinduism, it is not the religion as such, it is the philosophy. Okay, the Hinduism was not founded by anybody else, but it is the composing of philosophers, different philosophers, philosophical ideas. When we talk about Hinduism, the word Hinduism derived from the Sanskrit word in Sindhu. Okay, the Sanskrit word Sindhu the river Indus. So it had some relationship with the river Indus, where the river Indus, Indus Valley people, they have started their religion. So the Hinduism, the philosophy of Hinduism is based on the Indus Valley civilization. Mainly this Hinduism, the philosophy of Hinduism gives preference for three ideas, that is dharma, karma and transmission of soul. What is dharma? Dharma means leading a pious life, and karma means action. Okay, every action has its reaction. So what you will sow will be reap. That was karma talks about. Okay, the life you faced is the reflection of your previous action. That's what Hinduism talks about. And regarding the transformation of soul, the soul is eternal. It has no death. So when a person dies, a soul will be transmitted to one body to another. There is the rebirth takes place. So the Hinduism has given importance for rebirth. Okay, and we'll come to the economical life of people. How did they gain their economical profit? How they led the life? Okay, when we talk about the economical life, we can find different occupations, different people, they hold different work in later Vedic period. The main occupation of the people was agriculture, because in early Vedic period they are almost leading a nomadic life. When it comes to later Vedic period, people started to settle in a particular place, and they had started to do agriculture, and they knew the usage of iron, so they have also made different implements, tools and implements made with the iron, so which helped them to do agriculture and yield more profit. And the surplus product was sold in the market. They also economically well developed because of the inland and outward trading, the foreign trade. When we see, not only the people did agriculture, they were also different artisans. Okay, they made the grey vessels. The people during later Vedic period, they made the grey vessels. And since the trade and commerce developed economically, the later Vedic period, where the people were content with the economical development. Now what happened? The towns and cities developed because of intermingling of people and meeting of people for various purposes. Okay, mainly for trading. The local markets were developed with the import and export items. What is the impact of Aryan culture? The Aryan culture had great impact with the Indian culture. Okay, especially with the arrival of the Aryans, there was the language of Sanskrit was not given important its prominence. Okay, the Persian and other languages slowly occupied the society. In order to writing literatures in the Sanskrit languages, people learned other languages and started to write different literary works. So these were the impact of Aryan culture in India. Okay, and this rigid caste system made the people to convert into different religion even the later Vedic period. Okay, after the later Vedic period. So children, today we have learned about the date of later Vedic period, origin of later Vedic period, and later Vedas, and also different sources. And next we have seen how the political organization led in the later Vedic period. And also we have seen about the social life of the people, about Varna system, family life, and 4 divisions in the life of a man, like Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. We have also seen about Gurukula system of education and religious life of the people, and how this Hinduism developed out of the Aryans, about the Indus Valley culture and economical life of the people, and also we have seen the impact of Aryan culture in this class. I'll mark these questions in the next class. We'll meet again in the next class. Take care of and study the portion well and write the test well. Thank you, children.